Something was already looking back at you, not from behind you, from inside the glass. This is the story of a family in rural England. A mother, a father, and a 12-year-old girl named Sarah. And an antique mirror they should never have brought home. It was October 2019. The Hartley family had just moved into an old Victorian house in the Yorkshire countryside. A 3-story stone building, surrounded by fog most mornings. Beautiful, isolated, the kind of place you would see on a postcard. The mother, Helen, was an antique dealer. She had an eye for old things, beautiful things, things with history. So when a local estate sale offered a large, ornate mirror for just £40, she didn't hesitate. The mirror was stunning, 6 feet tall, dark mahogany frame carved with geometric patterns, ancient Arabic script running along the top edge. The seller, an elderly man, barely made eye contact when she handed him the money. He just whispered 2 words: "Don't look." Helen laughed it off. The old man was clearly eccentric, maybe even unwell. She loaded the mirror into her van, drove it home, and hung it at the end of the upstairs hallway. The first strange thing happened that same night. Sarah, the 12-year-old, woke up at 2:47 in the morning. She couldn't sleep. She said she felt watched. She walked out of her room to get a glass of water, and at the end of the hall, she stopped. The mirror was reflecting the hallway. That's normal. Mirrors reflect things. But Sarah said the reflection was slightly off, like a photograph taken just a half second after the real moment. Everything the same, but delayed. She raised her right hand. The reflection raised its left, correct, as mirrors do. But then she lowered her hand, and the reflection kept its hand up for just 1 second longer. Sarah ran to her parents' room and refused to sleep alone for the rest of the night. Her father, Mark, told her she was overtired. Her mother checked the mirror the next morning. Perfectly normal. Just a mirror. But then Helen noticed something she hadn't seen the night before. At the very bottom of the mirror's frame, carved into the wood, almost hidden, there was a symbol. A hand, open palm facing outward. In the ancient traditions of the Middle East and North Africa, that symbol is a warning. It means one thing: something is already inside. Now, before we go any further, if this story is already getting under your skin, subscribe right now, because it gets so much worse. I promise you that. In Islamic tradition, Djinn, that's Jinn in Arabic, are beings created from smokeless fire. They exist in a parallel world, invisible to us. Most are neutral. Some are even benevolent. But some choose to inhabit the spaces between our world and theirs. Mirrors, according to ancient tradition, are portals. The reflection you see is not simply you. It is the world on the other side. And if something from that world chooses to step through, the mirror becomes a door, and doors can be opened from both sides. Over the next 3 weeks, the Hartley family experienced what investigators would later describe as a progressive paranormal escalation. It started small. Objects moved, cold spots in the hallway. the smell of smoke with no source. Then Sarah stopped eating. She said she wasn't hungry, that someone was feeding her. When her parents pressed her, she pointed at the mirror. Mark, the father, had had enough. He decided to move the mirror out to the garden. The moment he touched the frame, he said he felt a hand, cold, dry, and far too large to be human, grip his wrist from behind the glass. He let go. He stepped back, and in the mirror, where his own reflection should have been, there was something else. Tall, still, just far enough back in the reflection to exist in the shadows, but not quite hidden. It was watching him, and it smiled. The family called a local imam, an Islamic scholar, who arrived that same evening. He walked slowly down the hallway toward the mirror. He didn't look at it directly. He told the family afterward that you never look a jinn in the eye through glass. That is how they enter your mind. He recited verses from the Quran, his voice steady, his hands raised. He said he could feel it, a pressure in the air, like standing next to a live wire. He said the Arabic inscription on the mirror's frame was not decorative. It was a binding seal. Someone had placed a jinn inside this mirror deliberately, trapped it, contained it. For what purpose, he didn't know. And for 70 years, through multiple homes, multiple owners, multiple families, it had been waiting, patient, feeding on the fear of every person who stopped and stared into that glass for just a moment too long. The scholar told the family that Sarah had spent too much time near the mirror, that she had been noticed, that to remove it safely, the mirror had to be covered, never face down, and transported without anyone looking at the reflection, not even a glimpse. They wrapped it in black cloth. 4 men carried it out, and Mark said that as they carried it past Sarah's bedroom, she started screaming. Not in fear, not in pain. He said it was the most disturbing part of the entire experience. She was screaming like she was saying goodbye to something. The mirror was buried, not in a landfill, not donated, buried in consecrated ground at a location the Hartley family has asked us not to disclose. Sarah recovered over the following months. She says she doesn't remember most of it, but she told her mother one thing she does remember from those 3 weeks. She said every time she looked into that mirror, she didn't see herself. She saw a version of herself that had already grown up, already aged, standing in a room she didn't recognize, alone. Whether this was a jinn, a psychological episode, or something science hasn't named yet, I'll let you decide. But Helen told me one last thing when I spoke to her. She said she went back to that estate sale 2 weeks later to find the old man who sold her the mirror. The neighbors said no one had lived at that address for over 10 years. That's the story of the Hartley family and the Djinn of the mirror. If you made it to the end, well done. Genuinely. Not everyone does. If you want more stories like this, true accounts, real fear, things that don't have easy explanations, subscribe and hit the bell. I upload every single week. And leave a comment below. Have you ever had a strange experience with a mirror? I read every single comment. Every single one.